Hello my friends, and welcome to another episode of Homestead Tessie. And today we are going to make laundry soap, we're going to make dish soap, and we are going to make fabric softener. Now you would have seen in the previous video that I talked about the zero spending month. And that's just what it is, zero spending. And I realized that I am out of laundry soap. So I'm going to make my large batch of laundry soap today. And this will be in a two-part series because I'm going to be covering quite a few recipes. So let's get started. The first recipe I'm going to make is called dish soap. Now you would have seen months ago I did a recipe on dish soap. And I liked that recipe, but it just wasn't exactly what It's just, I didn't think it worked quite as good as what it should have. And I have found a new recipe. And this recipe calls for quite a few more ingredients, but it's all ingredients that you would have in your pantry anyway. And I had saved a whole bunch of these bottles, and I also had a friend, Sue, who gave me a bunch of bottles. So I'm going to make a large batch. But I'm going to share with you first what the recipe is, and it makes one batch. So it makes one batch of soap. So this dish soap recipe calls for 1 pint of water, 1 tablespoon of washing soda, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, 1/8 cup of baking soda, and 1/8 bar of Zote soap, which would be 1 tablespoon of Zote soap. And that is supposed to make one of these. So I'm going to double this recipe. So you can follow along with me in the doubling of the recipe. So we're going to go with 2 pints of water, and to the 2 pints of water, we are going to add 2 tablespoons of the Zote soap. Now I want to share with you this once again. Online, you can buy the Zote soap already shredded, and they're basically the same price because this has 3 bars in it. And I thought it was a really neat idea, and I bought it way back in December. So I bought a couple of them way back in December. So I'm going to use up some of the supplies that I have because I cannot. So it'd be 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of the Zote soap. We are going to boil this, and when it's boiled, I'll get back to you and we'll show you what to do next. So a little tip, because I know a lot of you girls and some of you boys out there do not like it that it doesn't suds very well. You say, Tessie, the dish soap, it's good, but it doesn't suds and it doesn't cut the grease like it should. I want to share with you a little tip. When I make my homemade dish soap, I add 1 inch to 2 inch of regular commercial dish soap. That way, you have the commercial dish soap, but it's so much more frugal because you're not using the whole thing. You're only using a little bit. And then we will add our homemade to that. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. So, we have since I doubled the recipe, we have 2 pints of water, and we have 2 tablespoons of Zote soap, and it is already dissolved in hot water. To that we are going to add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. This recipe is really different and it really works well. 1, 2. And to that it calls for 1/8 cup of baking soda. So I'm using 1/4 cup of the baking soda. And we're going to want to really stir this well so it dissolves. This is really a simple recipe, and it does work quite well. If you add the tip that I did about adding the real commercial dish soap to it. And then to that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of washing soda, which would be doubled, so it's 2 tablespoons. And this is what the washing soda looks like. I'm sure most of you know by now because it's very popular making laundry soap. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons to that. Now some people add food coloring. I didn't have any, so you could always add food coloring if you'd like, but I didn't have any of that, so we're not going to use that. Another tip, I add 1 tablespoon of glycerin because it helps to make your skin really soft, and glycerin is in the commercial dish soap. So I just add a tablespoon of that. You do not have to add that. I just do because I have it, and it does really help. It also helps preserve it and keeps it from settling. So I just use that. And then the last thing we use is some essential oils. And we add 3 drops if you're using the single recipe, and of course 6 drops if you're using it double. And you can never go wrong with essential oils. Today I'm using lemongrass because I like lemon for my dishes. And that was 10 because I added a little for happiness. So, now this batch is done. This was a double batch. And we'll see how much it gives me. I have another batch back on the stove because I want to fill all these up so this can last me a long time. And then always when you're making homemade dish soap or any kind of homemade soap, always leave a headspace so you can shake it. One thing about the homemade products are you have to shake them each time you use them because they will settle more than a store-bought, because a store-bought has chemicals in it to keep it from settling. This gave me quite a lot. I'm very pleased because I never made this much at one time before. Okay. Put our lids on it. Give it a good shake. My friends, it's dish soap that works very well, very cheap, and when you're on the no spending month, a lifesaver. Take care everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hi my friends, if you liked this last video, can you do me a favor? Can you share it, or like it, or make sure you're subscribed? By sharing and liking my video, it helps get my video out into the world, and YouTube recognizes that video, and I will get more views. Thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.